section. Let's quickly get into the test structure. The test structure was similar to last year. You had 16 questions in English, 16 questions in quants, 16 questions in general awareness, 12 questions in analytical and logical reasoning. Now total 60 questions, total time limit was 60 minutes. There was no negative marking, +1 for every correct answer. You had 16 questions in English, 16 questions in quants, 16 questions in general awareness, 12 questions in analytical. Now, the most important thing is that your test interface was exactly similar to your IMS portal. In your test interface, you had the 4 sections at the top where you could click at any of the section at any point and quickly navigate into it. At the right, there was a question panel where inside a particular section, you could quickly switch between the particular questions. Now, for IMS students, I am pretty sure that this was the most familiar interface which you would have encountered in all the examinations which you were giving. Now, let us see quickly the topics inside each and every section. So for verbal ability, there were total 16 questions. There was only one question in form of a poem which was based on RC. In that they were asking you that which particular line of the poem is using the figures of speech of simile. Monil, the cutoff, in the end of this video, I will also discuss the cutoffs. Now, vocabulary, there were 3 questions in the form of fill in the blanks. In that, there was one question where they were asking you the particular meaning. A girl was given. They were saying that a girl can write using both left and right hand. What is this particular girl called? They were asking that. Next, in this particular question, they were asking you the word lest, and they were asking that how can you use lest correctly in a particular sentence. Then they also had given you a particular sentence where one particular word was underlined and they were asking you the synonym of that particular word from the options. Then in vocabulary there were 2 idioms. In idioms, there was one question where 4 options were given. In all 4 options, different idioms were used. But out of 4, there was only one question where idiom was used in the correct context and you had to identify that. Then there was second question where the idiom was given to us, and in that they were asking you that what is the correct use of this particular idiom in the 4 options. Grammar was heavy in verbal ability. Spot the error, there were 3 words, 3 questions where they were asking you to find grammatically and punctuation based correct option. Then there were 3 questions in fill in the blanks form where you had to use the conjunction or preposition to fill it and make a grammatically correct sentence. 2 questions, one question on tenses, one on article. Again the tense was mentioned, and out of the 4 options, only in one option the correct use of tense was present. Then in articles, again there were 4 options. In 3 options article was used in a wrong manner, but in one article was used perfectly. So you had to identify and choose that correct option. There was one question on question tag where there were again 4 options given. In 3 options, question tag was perfect, but in one there was an error and they were asking you to identify that wrong question tag option. And one question was on compound word where they were asking you where the compound one was used appropriately out of the 4 options. So verbal ability overall was a easy section. You could have completed this entire section in 8 to 9 minutes. Genuine attempts could have been between 14 to 15 and good score was 13 plus. Now let's move to quant section. Here arithmetic was the major module for your ACT. There were 3 questions in percentages and profit and loss combined. 2 questions were on percentages. One question was pretty direct. They had given you the population is 10,000. In 1 year it was increasing by 10%. Next year it decreases by 5%. Then in the 3rd year again it increases by 20%. And they were asking you what would be the new population. Apart from this, there was one table given. 5 years were mentioned. The production quantity for each year was mentioned. And the question was asked that how much was production in 2022 more compared to 2021. And again percentage change, very easy. If you knew your reciprocal, you could have easily calculated this answer. Then on profit and loss, there was one question given where they were asking you that there is a 8% loss. If you increase the selling price by rupees 80, there will be a 12% profit. Now, what is the cost price for that particular article? I'm pretty sure that IMS students have encountered this question in your practice exercise as well as your benchmarking. Even in your mocks, you must have encountered this. So IMS students should have gotten this question correct under a minute for sure. Now, coming to averages, allegations, ratios and proportions, there were 4 questions. One question was on average, where there was a group of 20 students given. The average age of the entire group was 60. Then they said that one particular member of the group whose age was 80 was replaced by a new person whose age is 50. And they were asking you what would be the new average. Again, there was a deficit of minus 30 shared equally among 20. So average goes down by minus 1.5. You have done such questions in your class, practice, benchmarking and your mocks. So you should have gotten this correct. Now, allegation, there were 2 questions where there was one question on allegations. In that, there was a mixture given which contained 50% of water. There was second mixture given which consisted 20% of water, and they were asking you that to create a mixture of 30% which should be having a 50 liters quantity, how much you should add for 20%. So very straightforward question on your mixtures and allegations. Then there was another question when there was average age of males given, average consumption by males in hospital, consumption by females in hospital, average consumption overall. The number of male was given. Using that ratio, you had to find the number of females. Now, time and work, time, speed, distance, one question each. The question on time and work was again very straightforward. There were 2 persons given working together. They were taking 30 days. One person working alone 40 days. So how much days would be required for the second person working alone? Then time, speed, distance, one question which was based on your trains. 2 trains were given running on parallel tracks in the same direction. The length of the trains were given, the speed of the trains were given. They were directly asking you how much time will be taken for the trains to pass each other. So direct formula based question. On numbers, there was one question on HCF and LCM. In this question, there was a man given who used to visit 3 different sites on 3 different days, after 3 different days. So I think the days were 12, 22 and 34. They were asking that if he is visiting right now, after how many more days or after how many days are passed, will he again visit on the same day all 3 sites. So clearly you had to just take the LCM of all 3 values and option was available. For this, if you could use your unit digit, it was more quicker to get your answer. In geometry, there were 2 questions on coordinate geometry. Again, in one question, 2 points were given. They were straight away asking you the distance between 2 points. In the second question, 2 points were given. They were asking you the slope for this particular point. Algebra, one question on logarithm, that's it. Even this question was straightforward, converting your logarithmic form to your exponent form. Then modern math, there were 2 questions. One question was on probability, one question on permutation combination. The question on permutation combination, after the paper, most of the students were not able to figure out how they had to solve this. The question was that there are 6 candidates who are standing for an election. Out of them, only 3 can be elected. Now there is a person who a voter can give maximum 3 votes. So they cannot give more than 3 different votes. So they were asking in how many particular ways can a person vote. So the way you had to solve this question was, a person could vote out of 6 for all 3, out of 6 for 2, out of 6 for 1. So there were cases involved. Based on that cases, you had to get your answer. Then one question on probability. This was a very simple question on dice, where they were saying that 2 dice are rolled. You need to find in how many cases the difference between the numbers which are appearing on the faces is 2. Sequence and series, there was one question. Again, you have to just identify that pattern and get the answer. Pattern was also very easy. Every odd number, it was square. For subsequent even number, it was into 2. Now, quants, overall it was an easy section. To crack the entire quant section, 20 to 23 minutes was the ideal time. You could have easily made 14 to 15 attempts. IMS students, if you have done your class practice exercise as well as your mocks, pretty sure you could have made all 16 attempts. Then good score was 13 plus in this particular section. Now coming to your logical reasoning. Puzzles, there were 2 questions on series. One series was numeric series. The second series was based on your alphabets as well as your symbols as well as numbers. Not very difficult. The alphabets were skipping by one alternate. The numbers were all the odd numbers in an order. So easy. The numeric series was kind of tricky for students to understand at the first go. Coding, decoding, there were 2 questions. One question, there was a word given, decoded, like the code was given. The second word was given as flare. You has to use the same pattern and get the answer. Then there was one question where particular words were coded as some random words in some language. You had to find out that each word represents which particular random code in that language, and then one sentence was given and they were asking you to find the code for that entire sentence. Again, I am sure all IMS students have encountered this question multiple times in class practice, benchmarking and mocks. So it was not something which was surprising or new for IMS students. 2 questions were there on blood relation. There was no question on directions. 2 questions were on blood relations. Again, one question was asked where there was a person given. It was given that he is a male. They were saying that he is the only child, and there was a big narrative given that he is pointing out to a picture. The answer for that question was father. So the person was in the picture was Nitin's father. That was the question. Second one, again, there was like a family relation given to you, wives, mothers, sisters-in-laws, something like that. So again, if you drew the entire family tree, easily you could have gotten your answer. There was only one question on circular arrangement. 6 friends were sitting around a circle. The name of 6 friends was given and they were asking you only one question on this. There was one question on statement and argument, where the question was given. They were asking you that which of the following options can best support this. Then 2 questions on statement and assumption. One question was on cause effect. One question was on course of action. Again, these questions on cause effect and course of action were not very difficult, because if you have gone through your mocks and done enough practice, you know not to mark extreme answers, and 2 options were straight away very extreme, which could not have been your answer. So if you have done enough practice of mocks and your practice exercise, these were very easy questions. Logical reasoning, overall again a easy section. Genuine attempts could have been 11 to 12 in this. Ideal time 12 to 13 minutes. A 10 plus is a good score for this particular section. Coming to general awareness, there were 7 questions which were on static GK, 9 questions which were on current affairs. Now, I remember few questions. I'll also answer all your questions in some time. Coming to your GK, there was one question where it was given as there is a Inca clan in the past in human civilization history, and there is a very famous landmark. Where is that landmark situated and what is that landmark was asked. Then there was a very straight away easy question where they were asking you that who did President Donald Trump beat to win the election. Then they were asking you the youngest chess champion. So I'm pretty sure in all your Instagram feeds there was Gukesh, who was trending for at least a month. So it was again a very easy question. Then they were asking you Satya Nadella is CEO of which particular company. So there were few very easy questions. Then there were few questions which were kind of tricky. They were asking you that which country lies on both the continents. So this was kind of surprising for me also. I did not know the answer at the first go. Then they were asking you that Mathur village in India belongs in which particular state and region. Then they were also asking you that there were few biodiversity regions, or precisely 36 regions which were identified and classified by a international board. Out of that 4 were in India, and out of those 4 which of the following options was correct. So for this you would require good knowledge on your current affairs. Then there was 2 questions. One question was asked which was again easy. They were asking you what is G20, and then they were also asking you Election Commission of India comes under what. So next there was one question on father of Zakir Hussain. So again you should have known that static GK to answer it. GK overall was moderate. There were few very easy questions, but then there were few questions for which you would require very good knowledge of current affairs. And in static also there were few questions which was kind of tricky, because I remember there was one more question on current affair where they were asking you about Project Cheetah, which was launched by Indian government, and in that there was an extinct species which was like transported back to India, and that species came from which particular country. So again you would have required good knowledge of current affair to get this answer. Now ideal time 7 to 8 minutes, not more than that. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. So you should not waste a lot of time for this section. Quickly just mark your answer and move forward. 7 plus could have been a good score. Students who would have read the IMS GK compendium very well, they could have also aimed to get 10 plus, because there are few questions which are directly from a compendium. Now overall analysis, 3 sections, your English, your logical, your quants was extremely easy. GK, few questions were moderate to difficult, few were again easy. So overall this was an easy paper. Genuine attempts should have been 50 plus. Good score for this paper for a candidate who have given enough IMS marks would have been 43 plus. Now the most important thing, what are the cutoffs for this year? Let us quickly look at the cutoffs. These cutoffs are based on the past trend, also how the paper was this year, what was the difficulty level, and again these are the expected cutoffs for Symbiosis Pune, the most popular campus of Symbiosis. For their most popular course BBA, the cutoff will be 36. For BSc Economics it should be 35, BA Mass Communication 31, BBA in Media Management 30, BBA in IT or BCA it should be 29. Then for Symbiosis Bangalore, for BBA there will be a cutoff of 35, Nagpur 30, Hyderabad campus 29 and Noida campus 27. Next stage will be a personal interview. Very important this year. 70% weightage is given to your aptitude score. 30% weightage is given to your personal interview. Based on that composite score, you will get your final admit. Thank you so much for watching this live analysis and connecting with us. I hope that earlier some of you joined and there was some error, but again you came back. So thank you for that. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you are continuously updated with more such videos and also other informative analysis for the coming examinations. On our channels, we also have other analysis video available for NPAT as well as for CRISE. So make sure to watch them also before you are giving that. Now, very important, I am available for next 5 minutes. If you have any doubts, you can put it in the live section and we can look into it. Sir, is 48 plus a safe score? Yes, 48 plus is a safe score. It's very good score, honestly. SCMS Noida is the best college in the world. Okay. Now, again, students, any doubts you have regarding Symbiosis, regarding SET, you can put it in the chat section. Also, people who are giving the attempt on 11th, if you are giving 2 attempts, the best score out of the 2 will be considered. Now, since you have already given your first attempt, you know what to expect in your second attempt. So prepare well in this coming days so that you can boost your score and your chances to get into Symbiosis. Would I get SCMS Pune interview call in 35 to 50 range? 36 is expected to be the cutoff, so 35 is not a safe score. But if you are somewhere at 39 or 40 end of the spectrum, you can expect a personal interview call. So can you tell the answer of the logs question? I believe for the logs question, it was log of x to the base square root of 27, which is equal to 8 by 3. So if you take square root of 27 that side, so it is square root of 27 raised to 8 by 3. Square root of 27 could have been written as 27 raised to half into 8 by 3, which is 27 raised to 4 by 3. So cube root of 27 is 3, 3 raised to 4 is 81. So I believe 81 was the correct answer for that question, and there was an option also as 81. For the election question, the answer was 41. What about SCMS Bangalore 35 to 50? For SCMS Bangalore, yes, 35 to 40 is a safe score. This is the expected cutoff for your SCMS Bangalore, which is 35. So if you're between 35 to 40, it's a safe score. Okay, since there are no more questions, thank you so much for joining, and make sure to subscribe so that you are updated with all such informative videos even in the future.